Alright, well then. Welcome back to Tabletop Simulator. Apparently there was one more cooperative game that I missed. So I figured I'd check it out. And I'm really dreading the fact that I did because damn, it's one of these games with a very crappy rulebook again, so ugh. But whatever, let's just check out MISTFALL. Now, before I begin, I want to note that basically this is a game. Is this a game of a very hard to follow rulebook? So it's very likely that you may notice mistakes if you've played this game or if you're reading the rules. I'm going to try and do the best I can not to make mistakes, but I can almost guarantee I am going to make mistakes with this game. So bear that in mind. Other than that, let's just get over here and get our components out, or get our MP3 player out. Because there's no sound effects in these actual games or anything. So let's go with Dance and Electronic, and then we'll go with Granite. Okay, why can't I select a loop here for... There we go, song. Alright, so that's basically out of the way. Alright, so I'll note that in this game there's basically, quite a bit on the table here. You basically have two books, so a quest guide, which I'll go through in a bit, and a rule book, which I'll try to avoid because just looking at that makes me angry and frustrated, so we're not going to try and look at that as much as possible. I'll note that we're going to be playing the first quest here. So basically on this board, I'll note that you basically got quests for the Abomination over here. There's a quest for the Tangle's Paths, which basically has you dealing with the Way Changer here, who's a corrupted sage, I guess. And then you got the Consuming Flames, which basically has you dealing with a corrupted Flame Master. But we're only going to go with the first quest here, so this stuff can all go away. So we'll throw this all into the box over here. And yes, here is Into the Wilds. So this quest is basically the start quest, and it basically has us doing or using less enemies. We're only use one type of the enemies of the game, and we're only going to be dealing with wildland encounters. And it's also a bit shorter than the other quests, which is why I'm going into it, because I can basically show you off what the game's all about, and it'll be a little bit of a short experience. I'll note by the way that we're going to be playing two heroes. And then, as a part of this quest, we actually move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the quest charter track. So basically in this game, we basically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 turns. And then we lose the game if we get that far. So basically this is one of those games where you advance in turns, and if you get to the end, you basically lose. So you want to basically try and beat the quest before the time runs out, so to speak. I'll note that for our heroes, there's basically 7 heroes you basically play with. You've got a shield bearer, a frost mage, an arcane weave archer, the arcane mage, the dawnbreaker cleric, the seeker, and the ravencrag fury. And these guys basically make up your hero cast. For our gaming purposes, I think we'll drop in with the Arcane Weaver archer. So we'll put him over here. Let's take out everything. And I think for our second character, let's grab the Frost Mage, I think. Alright, so basically these are two characters. I'll go into them in a little bit, but for now, we'll put this guy here, we'll just lock him down. And this guy will be player 1 over here. We can lock him down here. War Gear, we'll put that out there for now. There's his basic feats. There's his advanced feats. And starting gear. And we're just going to do the same thing with this guy over here. There's the starting gear. Basics feats. Advanced feats. I'm just going to put that over there for now. Alright, so we'll basically get back to them in a moment, but for now I want to basically set up the rest of the quest. So, Into the Wilds. Basically, we're going to be using only green enemies. That's like this deck up here. And we're going to be only using wildland encounters. So, basically there's like, 6 different like decks besides like the hero stuff in this game. You basically have one for reward, where you basically beat the encounters you go into. You have an encounter card deck, which basically will go through and like, only take out the wildland cards. We have time cards that basically dictate how far along on the time track you basically move at the end of like each round. You have red enemies, you have blue enemies, and you have green enemies. We're not going to use blue or red enemies, so let's throw these guys into the thing over here. And let's just go through our encounter deck here. We're basically going to grab our wildland cards out of it, because there's basically 3 different cards you can go through. You have borderland cards, which are basically like, these borderlands are basically like lands where like, they've been overrun by like brigands and like, like basically like, nefarious fellows of like mankind, so I would say. You have deadlands, which are basically lands overrun by the undead. Wildlands, which will basically be like, the cursed, not really cursed, but like the savage lands, and that's where we're basically going out for like, this first quest. So just gonna separate everything here. Now, in total, you'll notice that there's basically 6 for each type of, like, encounter. We're not going to use these ones, we're just going to get rid of them for now. And these ones here are encounter cards, but basically let's flip them over for now. Give them a nice big shuffle. And we're just going to throw these guys right there for now. Alright, so for rewards, basically when we get to it, we're only going to have 6 random transit reward cards, so let's just shuffle this, and then we'll like deal 6 cards here. And these 6 cards can go into the box. So group, give a nice big shuffle. We don't need to do anything about the time cards, so we can just throw them right there. And green enemies is much the same way, so let's throw them right there. So we're basically done with that stuff. Oh yeah, basically select 6 of the, like, Are these my reward cards? Yeah, those are my reward cards. So along with like those 6, basically, we have to add like our hero equipment to it. So we basically have 2 heroes. They have like reward cards for like each character. We basically have the Frost Mage's rewards right here. So this is like reward gear that you can basically pick up. The Ice Talisman, let's just look at this quickly. You place this in your hand, and you can place a Frost card from your discard pile on top of your deck, so basically lets me like do more actions, I guess. And then fast action, place 1 Frost card from the barrel pile on top of your deck. So this basically lets us like, recover this Ice Talisman. And the Ring of Frost. After you draw a Frost card, discard, and draw 3 cards. Discard, discard. This also helps with drawing stuff, but let's just get rid of this one, I think. So we'll throw this into the box here. Throw this one up there. And then we got ourselves the Arcane Weaver over here. This guy's got the Arcaneweave quiver and the Arcaneweave bow. The bow's pretty self-explanatory. It basically lets us attack people. So that's good if we want to do damage to people. I don't see a fast action for attacking, which is like, kind of bad, but whatever. And then we got the Arcaneweave quiver. This thing is apparently, well, it looks at the top thing, it's got like percussion on it, so it's like a special type of bow. When there's no things on this card, buried immediately, so alright, so this is a very specialized like piece of equipment here. This lets me, if you resolve an action of a bow card, it deals any damage, you may discard 1 person for this card. And this will let me add... Oh, this will let me change all my regular damage into arcane damage, that's really nice. And I also add more damage to it. So this lets me like increase my damage on my stuff, that's pretty nice. I kind of like the idea of having the arcane bow though, because this lets me attack more. So let's actually keep the arcane bow. I need to go into my, like, you know, rewards here. That's stuff I can basically use. So that's my reward deck right there. And this will go into the box. Alright, so, into the wilds. That's the rewards out of the way. Now, before we basically continue on, I want to basically jump into here very quickly, because there's one thing I want to note about, like, you know, this game, and, like, you know, something you should really note is that this is a game that has lots of, like, you know, punctuation errors, you know, mistyped, you know, rules and stuff like that. And there's a really good example I can basically show you here, where this basically says, like, you have, like, you know, 6 random translate reward cards with, like, your hero specific cards. This is, like, the quest guide basically tells you about how, like, to run these quests. And if you look at this one here, the reward setup, you basically choose one hero specific reward card for each hero, and place it face down in the middle of the table, and you add 8. Basically, this one tells you, like, you add 8, whereas, like, the card tells you to add 6. I'm not really sure if, like, you know, I really want to say that this is probably a game that wasn't really proofread very well. Whoever did this game, they didn't do very, very good editing, because there's a lot of things that they could have, like, written a lot better for this game. And this is, like, a good example where, like, you know, you basically have 2 conflicting rules in, like, your book and on this card here. So that's not a good thing to have, but whatever. Basically, so at this point, rewards are basically out of the way. Let's do locations. So, for this, like, you know, game, we're only going to be using wildland locations, so any other type of location we're not going to worry about. So what we're going to do here, we're just going to take out a bunch of random location tiles. Or, not really random, we're just going to take them all out. Much like the encounters, there's basically, like, you know, 666 for locations, so there's basically 18 of these in total. And we'll basically separate them. So this is going to be... So there's a Borderlands card right there. We're not going to be using that one in the deck. There's another Borderlands, so we'll throw it right on top of there. I'm just going to flip this around while we sort the stuff. So there's a Wildlands, we'll be using this one. So we'll basically put that aside. There's a Deadlands location, so that'd be like the undead like type of location. This is our Deadlands location. So we got red, green, and purple for our location titles, so I'll just go by the colors, I guess. Alright, so there we go. We basically have our location tiles right here. We're going to throw them back into the box for now. So there's 7 location tiles for that. Is there 7? That means there's like lots of this stuff here, so... Let's just quickly go through our thing here. And we got ourselves Wildlands, 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 Wildlands. Alright, so there's apparently 7 wildland locations in the game, that's good to know. That means there's like less of like the Borderlands or the other stuff, I guess. Whatever, let's throw this into a box of stuff. Alright, now we basically have that out of the way, let's just shuffle this here. And we'll basically separate quests. So I'll note in the first quest, you basically have the Herfire Inn, this is your safe location and start location. And you have, like, you know, 3 locations that pop out after that. That'll basically go through to your final quest. This will be your final quest right here. This will be the boss monster we basically fight for the quest. Alright, so yeah, basically everything else is done. So we basically don't need this card anymore, we'll throw it over here, I guess. And I'll throw it right there. Alright, so next, at this point, basically got like, the quest board set up. We have to basically start setting up a heroes den. So, we basically have 2 heroes for this game because I want to basically show off a little bit about the pirate mechanics and like how they like influence each other. This guy here, he basically starts off with a hooded cloak, a quiver, and a long bow. So that's this stuff right here. There we go. I'll note by the way for like gear, it basically has like these symbols on it where like it says like A1, E1, and C1. This basically means I can only have one type of like A1 A card in his inventory in his hero area basically. So if like I get like the Arcaneweave bow, it's probably gonna have an A on it, and basically means I can have both the longbow and like the Arcaneweave bow on the same time. So I have to keep that in mind when I basically get to that stuff. If you look at the dagger here, it's basically got B. So basically, if I want to control like the daggers in here because they don't have like any restriction on that. They're not like an A, an E, or an F type of card, so we're fine with that. We can basically add these cards together, so let's just do that. I'll note that basically these cards here, like, they form like our basic actions we can basically do, so dodging, shooting, everything else. Let's just give it a big shuffle. And we'll throw it right here. We got ourselves advanced feats over here. These are like, personal abilities we can get later on in the game. So let's throw it right there. I should just put it right up there. And that's basically this guy's set up, so we're good on that. Let's set up the Frost Mage over here. He's got a Scroll of Wisdom, Amulet Scroll for starting gear, Frost Rune Stone, and Ice Staff, so this is stuff right here. Let's put it like that for now. Then he's got his basic feat cards, so we'll go right here. There's a big shuffle for them. And there's his advanced feat cards right here, so let's throw them right there as well. Alright, so basically at this point there's only one thing to do before we basically finish our setup. We have to draw 5 cards for each of my heroes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These will be the additional actions I can basically perform with my guys. And we can flip them right up, so why not? So basically the Arcane Weaver, he starts out with, he's got a dodge ability, he's got a couple of replenishes for like, replenishing his cards, and he's got a couple of aimed shots, so he's got a nice little like balance of stuff he basically do. And then this guy's got some spells to basically throw at people. There's an Arcane Inspiration, this lets him, this card's not counted against your draw limit. This card may be buried as a result of damage dealt to your hero unless it's buried directly from your deck. So, nice thing about this card here is that I can have this as like an extra card in my hand for like, defensive purposes. That's pretty nice. On the way, the cards in this game are basically your HP, so in total we basically have like this stuff as our HP, so we have 12 hit points and 12 hit points. And if we add like, advanced feats to it, we basically get more hit points from that. So this guy's got a couple of frost bolts, he's got a couple like, other stuff as well. We'll deal with these guys when we get to the turns in the main game, but for now, we'll just leave it as is. Now, before we basically, go to the next video, which basically, has to be starting to play this game, I figured we'd actually jump into like, reading like a little bit about the background of this game, because it basically is, there's like a little bit of like a story basically going on in here. Alright, so basically I'll note that you got like the quest guide to start here. It basically tells you how like to play the quest and stuff like that, how you want to get like higher or lower difficulty and stuff. If you go to State 4 or page 5 and 6 in this book, it'll basically give you the story of MISTFALL. So basically, to give you like the gist of what's going on in here, there's like these 2 gods that like created like the world, and one of them got like really angry because like people weren't worshiping him, so it basically created like a band of like of brutish monsters to like be his like guys. They however like didn't really please him, so he basically he just stormed off. He's like, I've had enough. And then for some reason something called the mists happened, and these mists basically are causing lots of problems for like all the denizens of the world. Then the Heroes Intro, basically learn a little bit about the heroes and all that stuff. But let's just go over here to talk about the first one, Master of the Wildlands. So, after the Dustfire depraved the Beastman of his might, the wild tribes came very close to self-annihilation. Desperately looking for a way to regain their lost power, they would perform blood rituals, trials by combat, and sacrificial cullings of their own numbers, hoping to regain the favor they had lost. All this to no avail, as the Dustfire remained adamant in his judgment, and deaf to their savage calls. But the Mist did not. Answering the call of the frenzied creatures, the Mist reached out and empowered the former servants of the scornful god, and filled them with might and ferocity not seen before Dusk decided to abandon her children. And the first of the Beastmen received this new gift were the tribal shamans. The few that were left after the cullings brought their numbers down to only a handful. With the new might, the Beastmen's sorcerers rose to great power again, and it became accustomed to tribes to home at least one of them, and usually as many as possible. The gift of wielding a dark and savage power was not a too common one, and with the passing years the shamans became as highly, if not higher regarded, as the hunters and warriors of the savage tribes. And enter our hero, who's basically, I guess the main villain in this game we'll be basically playing, Gardak the Charred. Sired by the war chief felled by his oldest son, Gardak had lived in his brother's shadow for years, before rising to great prominence. And although he was surrounded by fearful respect from both the fighters and the magic users of his tribe, Gardak remained unsatisfied with being the first in command among only the shamans of the herd. Having a mind the lords the Blackwood would not be ashamed of, Gardak kept his first for even more power secret until a perfect opportunity. Having been brought a vision of his brother's demise at the hands of a young Ravencrag Fury, instead of warning him, he told him of a tale of glory and destiny that would await the chief if he crossed blades with a barbaric warrior. And so, with his younger brother's assurances, Chief Gardak went to his death. Shortly after the crippling defeat that left his tribe leaderless, and being sure that some of the most able warriors had fallen at Gardak's side, Gardak immediately seized the position of the chief, and to prove that a shaman may be as ferocious and able to lead the Beastman into battle as any hunter or warrior, he started gathering forces to launch a devastating attack on the lands under Frost Valley's protection. So yeah, basically this guy is he's amassing a force to basically attack us, so we're basically trying to, aim to stop him for the most part. By the way, I'll note that the young Ravencrag Fury who basically felled his brother is this one right here. So Venda, the Ravencrag Fury, is the one who basically felled the brother. I played with her a little bit, but I'll note that some of her cards basically in here, they have punctuation errors on them, so let's go, let's just jump into it just to show us off right now. One of the things I really don't like about this game is that they didn't really do proper spell checking for a lot of their stuff. And if you go to some of the cards over here, I think it is. Let's see here. Yeah, I realize I'm not talking about anything right now, but basically in one of his cards right here, this one right here. So double slash, for example, I think it is. This is a good example where you basically have issues basically happening, I think, in this, or no, it wasn't this one. Well, basically in one of these cards, for Benda, she basically has a card that it's got punctuation errors on the card, and it's one of the reasons that it's hard to follow what you're supposed to do in this game. Is it this one? Not knockback. That's probably another thing to note, by the way. Some of these cards, they're not very, scripted, how it's supposed to happen. So, basically, for this card, the Unstoppable card, Reflex. After you resolve an action that eliminates one or more enemies, you receive 1 restoration, and then you move, the enemy focus tracker over 1 by 1 for each enemy. Basically, it's got, the period right here, so it's okay, so what's this period basically mean here? So that's a good example, where you basically have spelling errors basically happening. So it's just annoying, and it's part of the reasons I really don't like this game, for its rulings, all that stuff. Let's throw this all in there. Alright, so that's basically out of the way. At this point, I can actually start playing, but I think we're just going to stop the recording here, and I'll basically pick it up next time. So, join me next time in the next video, basically see how this game is played. But for now, take care. Alright, I'll note that this is basically an addendum to the current video, because basically I went through, we did the recording for, like, you know, this setup, and I noticed that there are a couple things wrong in setting this up, so I just want to basically throw in a little quick addition to point out a couple of things I did wrong in the setup. So, first things first, I'll note that over here is something called a resolve pool, and at the start of the game I start with one resolve in it. And resolve is basically used to, like, you know, buy your additional, advanced feats and, like, you know, do other stuff in the game. And it's so important that you at least have that there. I also forgot to have a couple objective tokens for my archer here. Basically, the archer has a quiver, and these objective tokens basically signify how much ammo he basically has in his quiver. So at the start of his, like, you know, game, he'll basically have two, like, arrows in his quiver that can basically use to fire stuff. And you basically use these, like, quivers here to, like, fire off, like, your bow. Without these, you can't fire off your bow, and, like, you know, you're basically, like, you know, out of, like, luck. That's actually a good reason, by the way, to actually think about getting the actual, like, you know, quiver. So I'll note that over here I basically have, like, you know, those are the encounters, don't care about those. In, like, the, the rewards, basically, I took out, like, you know, the bow instead of, like, the quiver. If I had taken the Arcane Weaver bow, or the quiver rather, over the bow, I would have actually had a little bit more options for ammo. And that's something to consider. I'll keep it basically the bow in there for now, but because I basically am taking out, like, you know, my normal quiver, I'm going to have at least less ammo to basically fire off at enemies. And you need, like, a bow shot to basically fire, like, at your enemies when you're basically, like, you know, going through the game. So I'll have to watch out for this. Anyhow, that's basically all I wanted to point out, and that's basically it for this, like, you know, addendum. I'll see you guys in the next video where we basically start the game, so take care.